Hey YouTube fans, Eric here in the garden. I've been away for about 2 weeks and just got back into town this afternoon. I have to admit I was a little bit nervous. We've been gone about 2 weeks and we haven't had a drop of rain since I've been gone. When I pulled into the driveway, a lot of our lawn is very dormant. It looks like it's dead. I did something wrong with the timer for our lawn irrigation, but thankfully that was not the case with the roses. I certainly was a little bit worried, especially with some of them being newly planted. This is Sunny Sundays here. You can see I've got some suckers to remove of the Fortuniana, but overall looking really good. In fact, looking at the rose bushes, the best it's looked since I've gone away from vacation before. These are two brand new canes on Veterans Honor. There's a little black spot here and there. You can certainly see that on Randy Scott, but overall the appearance of the bushes are looking really good. I'm in between two bloom cycles right now, so looking pretty good for being gone for about 2 weeks. And before I went, I did spray for black spot and spider mites and kind of everything the weather forecast was going to be conducive for. The black spot, since I wouldn't be here for a couple weeks, and then the spider mites, since it was going to be hot and dry. Another good thing is I don't have a lot of weeds. I've got a couple in there I can hand pull. I tried something before I left. Anything that's far away from the bush, I'm going to spray, and anything near it, I'm going to hand pull. But look at all these in here. I sprayed these with Roundup before I left, and they are dead. So I'm excited about that. Roundup certainly does a good job, but you got to be careful how close you get to the roses. So anything out in between the roses themselves, and with them being planted 5 feet on center, I've got a lot of room. So any of these I'll continue to spray. I'm trying to be more efficient. I did the video on drip irrigation to become more efficient, and now I'm trying to cut down on my weeding. So any of those weeds in between the bushes, I will spray. That doesn't take too long. And then these weeds that are right by the rose itself, I will certainly hand pull those because I don't want any chance of killing the roses. You'll notice that the blooms are small. This is Marlin's Day. Very nice looking bloom. Here's another one on that, but only a couple inches across. That first week we were gone, we had temperatures into the 90s, mid to upper 90s, and 110 for the heat index when you factor in the humidity, so quite warm. This is Let Freedom Ring. You can tell by the really long canes. Here's one single bloom here that looks really nice, but you can follow that cane all the way down. This is like a 3-foot cane. So that's an impressive rose bush. If you want single stem, long stem roses, that is certainly a rose to consider. These are some of the new plantings. This one is Fragrant Cloud. Again, it's doing really well. I think I've got Dolly Parton over here as well. That's a new planting. You can see how that has done. This is Secret. That's looking really good. And keep in mind, these roses didn't get 1 ounce of care in about the last 2 weeks. I did the fertilization, spraying before I left, in fact the day before. But look how green those leaves are. They are looking good. And that's all thanks to the drip irrigation system, so I'm quite happy with that. Here's some of the new ones. I can see some crabgrass growing in. I'll take care of that. These are some of the new plantings. If you followed our page, a good month and a half ago, this is one of those Louise Estes maidens. Very, they had the first blooms while I was gone. So this is really looking good. Remember, I kept pinching those off so it would grow. So that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll do an update on that. That's the new bed. I don't want to talk too much about that, but things are looking good in the garden. Despite the drought that we're in here in eastern North Carolina, I can't say enough about this drip irrigation system. I always have some helpful neighbors that are all for the water, but this is a lot of watering that you'd have to do for a garden of this size. So with that drip and an automated system, it's working good. Now my next task is to tackle what is wrong with the timing part of the lawn, because that I messed up. So the lawn is looking pretty parched. The good news is the grass didn't grow a lot, so I'm going to cut it here, but I was expecting to come back to a jungle being gone about 2 weeks, but with no rain and no irrigation, that grass is pretty parched and has not grown much versus the irrigated roses. I will say I set them to water 3 times a week, and that certainly seems sufficient. When I first arrived this afternoon, some of the blooms were droopy a little bit, so I did increase my frequency to 4 times a week. And that's just because we don't have rain expected for the next week where we are in eastern North Carolina. And again, look at these canes on Veterans Honor. 1, 2, 3 huge new canes that have developed with no care over the last 2 weeks other than that automated drip system. So very happy to come back to a garden that looks just as good as when I left, and in a lot of cases better, because these newly Fortuniana planted roses from K&M are really starting to take off. So that's it in the garden. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. We'll do another update here shortly. The one tomorrow is going to be on a new bed. We sprayed some Roundup before we left for vacation. I want to show you how that looks, and just as importantly, how it turned out in terms of our project of our new bed. Have a great day, everybody.